Why do we have government in the liquor business in the first place? I mean, surely the role of government is to regulate it and to tax it. But the idea of being a warehouser, a distributor, and a retailer, why?
You want to take that one, Chloe?
Well, it all started back in Prohibition when it came back to here. And the bigger picture of all of this is about keeping Ontario, supporting Ontarians, making sure they understand that we're here to fight for everybody because this is public, it's not private. If it turns private, where are you going to get $2.5 billion to support all these infrastructures that are required for this money?
Through the tax threshold, man.
Right, but everybody's taxes will increase.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Oshawa, Ontario. And as you can see, folks, I'm outside one of the 600 plus LCBO stores in the province. The LCBO workers are going into week 2 of their strike mandate. But what is fascinating about this strike is that it's not about wages and benefits and working conditions and job security. At least those issues haven't been brought forth on the bargaining table, but rather their union, OPSEU, is upset about ready-to-drink beverages like coolers and seltzers being put into other channels. So in other words, it's not about the plight of the individual worker in the retail environment of the LCBO, but rather they are taking a stance against government policy. And I think this is a loser for the union. Granted, our premier has earned the nickname Flip-Flop Ford, but I don't think he's going to flip on this. In fact, since the strike entered the 2-week period, he is accelerating the movement to get those beverages into other channels. Well, in any event, the strikers are on the sidewalk. We're going to go there and try to make sense of it all and try to find out also if they agree with their union's position of going on strike, the first time, by the way, in the LCBO's history, over government policy as opposed to, as I said earlier, issues such as wages and benefits. Let's see what they have to say. To me, from what I can read, ma'am, it's about government policy.
Well, so for us, we're fighting for better job security. Myself, I've been with the board for almost a decade. I don't get any sick days, any vacation days, access to proper benefits. Also about, bettering Ontario, privatization, keeping our the money in the pocket of Ontario. We provide a lot of money for education, roads, OHIP, hospitals, stuff like that. And I think, with the closures of LCBO, privatization, that'll really start to trickle down effect on things like education and hospitals.
But I thought privatizing the LCBO was off the table. I mean, I remember back in 1995, that was one of the planks of the Mike Harris Common Sense Revolution. And I understand the Ford PCs aren't going down that road. But I mean, what is wrong with opening up the market? Because as I understand it, this is about government policy, that the union doesn't want seltzers and coolers being sold in other channels. Why not?
It's not so much about opening up the market. It's about letting LCBO expand with Ontario. Opening more stores, later store hours, more availability for the public, whereas we are more protecting of the youth in the area. We properly check for IDs, whereas your local convenience store might not.
But, the statistics, some studies I've seen, ma'am, show that in terms of challenge and refuse, compared to the convenience store sector and the beer store, the LCBO came in third place on that.
So
do you have data to back that up?
I do, yes.
I was recently a teenager, and I lived in this neighborhood, and I can promise you almost all of the convenience stores in this area sold me smokes well before I was of age, whereas LCBO was not able to catch me.
It's surprising to hear because they face enormous penalties, even losing their business license to sell tobacco.
Sure. And I think that's also partially to do with what is happening in our province. I think some people are afraid to lose sales, right? They're struggling businesses themselves, and if they're given the opportunity to sell alcohol, they're going to do the best that they can with the training that they've been provided, which isn't isn't a lot, in my opinion. And I think the young clerks at the convenience stores are going to be a little bit more likely to say yes to their peers rather than check for ID, or maybe fall into the fear tactics of theft, criminals coming into the stores. They're not going to want to bother.
Well, ma'am, I can tell you, in yesterday I was with Sun News Network, and we did a test. We had a 15-year-old go into 3 LCBOs, and 3 out of 3 times he was able to buy hard liquor.
How long ago was that, though?
That was about 10 or 11 years ago, ma'am.
So things are a lot tougher now.
Oh, is that right?
Well, yeah, and look at the beer store is now competing with grocery stores and stuff like that, but the beer store is here. I don't think that this has a lot to do with the fact that they're scared if it goes into retail stores that these guys aren't going to be here anymore. The LCBO is still going to be here no matter what. Doesn't matter if it goes into grocery stores. Ford wants all the rich people to keep all the money, and all the little guys get, pardon my language, fuck all.
Yeah.
Welfare is still $733 a month. He doesn't care about, he just wants the rich to get richer. Oh, he gives us an extra 50 cents on the minimum wage, but that's still not even enough to live on. The money from this is supposed to be going to the public, to all of these public things like education and healthcare and shit like that, and he wants to keep it for himself. It's a very totalitarian kind of thought, you know what I mean? The rich get richer, they keep getting richer, and the poor are just going to keep under everybody else's boots.
I'm not sure I follow the logic there, ma'am, because, I mean, the tax threshold for the government will be there, but also the frontline LCBO retail employees. I would argue, we have a mall here, there's all kinds of retailers. You're probably getting paid the best, aren't you?
How many of these I don't work for these people.
Oh, okay.
But how many?
Oh, you're not a striker yourself.
No, I'm a supporter. I'm a supporter.
Okay. All
But
right.
how many of these people? How many of these retailers are giving money to these publicly funded endeavors?
Well, through the taxation, all of them.
No, not like the LCBO though.
No? Okay,
not
then.
like that. Not like these guys.
Well, if I can
These
come
guys
back
are
to you
just
then,
like
ma'am,
being on
since
the street.
you're
Yeah,
part of
I'm a
OPSEU.
supporter.
In the big picture,
you. Yeah.
why do we have government in the liquor business in the first place? I mean, surely the role of government is to regulate it and to tax it. But the idea of being a warehouser, a distributor, and a retailer, why?
You want to take that one, Chloe?
Well, it all started back in Prohibition when it came back to here. And the bigger picture of all of this is about keeping Ontario, supporting Ontarians, making sure they understand that we're here to fight for everybody because this is public, it's not private. If it turns private, where are you going to get $2.5 billion to support all these infrastructures that are required for this money?
Through the tax threshold, ma'am.
Right, but everybody's taxes will increase. You can't get $2.5 billion out of private companies.
But we've seen Alberta, for example, since the 90s, totally privatized system, and on a per capita basis, the government makes more. I think it's $11 more per head off of Albertans than we have here in Ontario with the LCBO monopoly. So does your argument fail that test?
Statistics to back that up,
Yes, there is.
Because since BC privatized, the last time I frequented there, you could get a 4-pack of vodka soda for about $15.95.
Okay.
You're not going to find those prices in an LCBO.
Meaning it's higher or lower?
Us being the largest alcohol reseller in the entire globe is something, in my opinion, that's something to be proud of. That's something amazing that we do for Ontario. Once you sell it off, you're not going to get it back, and it'll just be too late. And to be the statement of let's be like the rest of the world. So when your child comes home and says, "Hey mom, hey dad, well all my friends are doing it," what are you going to say to them? The exact same thing. Just because the rest of the world is doing it doesn't mean it has to happen here.
How long are you ladies willing to stay out on strike?
Every day. Okay. One day longer, one day stronger. We will be out here every day until Doug Ford decides to get back to the table.
But wasn't it OPSEU that left the table?
It was Doug Ford that left the table. OPSEU has always been willing to negotiate. Our bargaining team is always ready to go back to the table and talk a fair deal. It is Doug Ford that is union busting and sticking his nose where it does not belong. He is not my employer, yet he is the one in charge at the table.
And ma'am, it doesn't look like the Ford PCs are going to flip on this government policy issue. Is it maybe time for the union to say, okay, we lost out on that, now let's talk about wages, benefits, working conditions, so forth?
Again, it's not about the wages.
It isn't.
No, it's not about the wages. Okay. It's actually trying to keep LCBO public, not letting it go private. That's our biggest task, our biggest challenge here. And everything you hear on the news isn't always true. You know that. So when you said, Doug, we walked away from the table, we didn't walk away from the table. The government turned around and told us, if you're going to strike, we're shutting you down for 2 weeks. That wasn't us doing that. That was them. They didn't want to come to the table, but guess what? Because we are a full force out here for Ontarians, we were able to slow down what they were planning to do behind our backs, and we have now been able to get them back at the table before the 2 weeks that the government said we'd be shut down at.
Oh, you don't want anyone to talk to us, ma'am? Would anyone like to come on camera and explain why you're on the picket line?
We just explained to you why we're on the picket line.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just talking about the other rank and file members, ma'am. Why was your colleague saying don't talk to us?
Because the two picket captains have to control the riding and the lines, right? And we're trying to keep everybody focused. We explained to you why we're out picketing and what we're fighting for, and I think you got enough. If you want to take some footage of us with our signs, by all means, You're totally welcome to.
Well, I know the C in LCBO is control. A lot of control happening here.
Yeah, I can think of another C word that it belongs to too, but I won't give you that one.
Oh my goodness. Not the C word, I hope she's not thinking about. Well, in any event, folks, I think these two might be the ringleaders, and they've told the other members here not to talk to us. Again, I know the C in LCBO stands for control, which is a shame, really, because I think when it comes to any commodity, the C should stand for competition and convenience. And I think that is what is afoot here. The Ford PCs are trying to open up the liquor monopoly to other players, more choice, extended hours. What is the problem? Why is that such a bad thing in the eyes of these rank and file members or OPSEU, their union? Okay, it's over already?
Yeah,
2 o'clock?
Just 10 to 2.
10 till 2?
Yeah.
Okay then. Holy mackerel, you blink and the picket line disappears. I spoke to one of the strikers off camera, and he told me that they only strike between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Now, I've heard the phrase banker's hours, but 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. by my math, that's 4 hours. That makes bankers look like they're working with the midnight oil burning. Wow, must be nice. By the way, how did you feel about OPSEU supporting the pro-Hamas camps at Canadian universities or Ontario University?
I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
But pro-Palestine, so there we go.
And she got into it. Interesting. Now, as fate would have it, right across from that LCBO, maybe about 200 meters away, lo and behold, in the same shopping mall, we have the Friendly Stranger Cannabis Culture Shop. This is a pot dispensary. It's a privately run operation. I don't see a whole bunch of kids in the parking lot getting stoned, buying weed illicitly, so they can do it. And then come on down here, you can see it's actually a beautiful wine shop. It's the Magnata Winery. If you go in there, excellent customer service, wonderful selection, wonderful products. There are other Magnata wineries, and I've supported them in the past. And again, in the parking lot, there's no anarchy. There are no kids sitting on the curb getting blitzed on ice wine or what have you. So what is the argument? And in fact, even closer to the LCBO, a beer store, contrary to popular belief, that is not a government-run operation, that is privately run. And you do not see any kind of shenanigans, any kind of illicit liquor activity, any kind of incident where minors are being corrupted. But I'll tell you one thing, folks. Back a decade ago, I was with Sun News Network, and we did a test. We sent a 15-year-old boy into 3 York Region LCBOs, and he sought to buy hard liquor, Sambuca, and guess what? 3 out of 3 times, he succeeded. And what happened in the aftermath of that teenager buying that hard liquor? Well, really, nothing. Nobody was suspended. None of those stores was shut down, at least for a temporary basis. And the government essentially shrugged its shoulders and said, we'll try to do harder next time. Can you imagine if we caught on camera that kid buying cigarettes at a convenience store? They'd likely lose their business license. So again, I think with the examples we see, it completely blows a hole in the argument that unless government is retailing alcohol, it's going to be Armageddon. We've been driving around the Durham region looking for LCBOs with picketers. We want to interview them, find out why they're on strike, whether they agree with their union about striking regarding government policy, which I find to be very odd indeed. And we came across this LCBO at the Oshawa Center shopping mall, and it's absolutely bizarre because you can see, folks, it is locked down like Fort Knox. No one's getting in, no one's getting out. But what is in front of this LCBO store? Not 1, not 2, but 3 security guards. And we drove up to them. Basically, we just wanted to find out if they knew where the picketers might be in the Oshawa area. They did not know the answer to that. And but a really weird discussion ensued. Here, check it out. Hey guys, how you doing? Do you know, I thought there might be a picket line here. A picket line for the strike. You know, do you know where they're picketing in Oshawa? Okay then. What are you guys doing here to prevent break-ins or? Oh, just stand outside the store? Okay, but the store's closed, right? I don't understand. Right, but if they're I would imagine one benefit of the strike is that shoplifting is going to be no filming. Oh, well, we're in a public place. Okay, well, we don't need consent in a public place, but well,
Yes,
are you a security guard? Do you have your license? Okay.
We're outside.
Where is it? That's not a license. Anyways, we're not trying to give you aggro. We're just trying to speak to the strikers. Okay,
It's
but
a public
I'm
place.
just trying to make sense of if it's a locked liquor store, there's no theft happening. What are you hired by the LCBO or by the mall? The mall? Okay then.
public
All right then.
place.
Okay, well, have a nice day then. Yeah, as you saw, they were more concerned about being filmed in what is essentially a public place. But what gets me is who is paying for 3 security guards to guard over a locked LCBO store? Is it the mall or is it the LCBO? Either way, it doesn't make sense. And I say this, folks, because it is notorious how much liquor inventory goes out the door at the LCBO chain on an annual basis. It's in the tens and tens of millions of dollars. You would think if you're concerned about shoplifting and putting an end to the 5-finger discount, you would have that kind of security presence when the stores are operating, not when they are locked down. Absolutely incredible. Welcome to the bizarro universe yet again, folks. Hey, how you doing there, sir? Good. Very good, sir. I'm just wondering, we've seen some other security patrols at LCBO stores. Has there been like break-ins or attempted break-ins?
I'm not really here for the LCBO. I'm here for the whole property because of the homeless situation.
Oh, okay
Yeah.
then. There's a homeless problem here? Or?
Definitely.
We are in Oshawa, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not just Oshawa. It's Pickering, Ajax, all the lower line there. Like Ford, our local government and Mr. Trudeau make all kinds of promises to help these people, and they don't. So they've got no other choice but vandalize, destroy, steal. It's the property owner has to collect the rent, increase the rent to cover the cost of security,
Right.
to protect their property when they already pay for it in their taxes, be it Durham Regional Police. But Mr. Trudeau, with his outcome of this catch and release bill, right, is a joke. They come out, they issue them a ticket, and they leave them on the property because they can't take them to jail.
I can't debate you on that point, sir. I don't have any valid points, but... Well, anyway... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Ford is the same way. He's trying to backdoor privatizing the LCBO and putting these people out of work. Putting alcohol in the local corner stores, which is going to boost crime. It's going to boost impaired driving.
Do we know that for a fact, sir?
Sure. Look at the stats since marijuana became illegal.
Okay, well, that's a different substance, but
But
I
it's
mean,
still
if we look,
impaired
Alberta has a privatized system. It's been that way for many years. Has there been any correlation between impaired driving and crime spiking because of privatized liquor sales?
I'm not aware.
Okay.
To be totally honest, I'm not aware. But I know Oshawa,
Okay.
and it's going to happen.
All right.
You
But
know-
Ford has said that the LCBO will not be privatized. It's just about freeing up the liquor market to other channels.
Now, give him 6 months.
Okay.
Give him a year.
Okay.
Watch what happens. Right?
So you don't believe that? You think this is okay?
He's a politician. He's looking for votes right now, and that's all he's looking for.
But sir, in the big grand scheme of things, why is the government in liquor retailing? Surely its role is regulation and taxation, is it not?
Well, it would be, but it won't be if it goes to the private sector.
Well, won't the private sector be regulated and taxed just like, say, a corner store selling cigarettes?
Not according to what I hear. What I hear is they get their booze from the LCBO currently, right? Their markup is whatever they want it to be. So where the LCBO is controlled, their prices are fixed. It doesn't matter if you go to this LCBO or the one the other side of the city. Same prices. It's not going to work that way in the corner stores.
But does that necessarily mean it's going to increase? If you're selling it for much more than the guy down the street, you're going to be forced to lower your price, surely, aren't you?
No, you're not.
No?
Your volume is going to increase because people who depend on alcohol to survive is going to go wherever they can go.
All right then. Well, sir, I want to thank you for your time, and you stay safe out there. I hope you don't run into any aggro, and so thank you again, sir.
Have a great day.
Okay, bye-bye. You know, another thing we noticed standing outside this Magnata Winery store, folks, is, lo and behold, extended store hours. Can you imagine that? That you can buy alcohol at a time that is later than 6 or 7 p.m. And get a load of this, we are open Monday, August the 5th, 2024. That is the holiday Monday in August. For the life of me, I can't remember seeing many LCBOs open on a stat holiday. So God bless the private sector. Well, if you're looking to get a bottle of hooch at the more than 600 LCBO stores in Ontario, you are out of luck. OPSEU has gone on strike. And it's not about wages and benefits, it's about government policy in terms of opening up the liquor market to other channels. But you know what? As much as we support that, we don't think the government is going nearly far enough. These are baby steps. Get out of the liquor retailing business, period. And if you support our stance, please go to sellthelcbo.com. That's sellthelcbo.com. Sign our petition, and if you're able to, make a donation so we can continue to bring you the other side of the story.